This video is intended for Muslims and people of other beliefs, and aims to make known some facts about the Prophet and some traits of his personality. You should know that the Prophet had compassion for everyone, for his family, his friends, but also for his enemies. And he also had compassion for animals. Animals are also creatures of God, and the Prophet encouraged his companions to respect them. Several hadiths remind us that humans were established on earth as guardians of God's creation. The words of the Prophet teach us that causing God's creatures to suffer for no reason is wrong, and that those who do this will be accountable to God. There are many hadiths which report that the Prophet had a good behavior towards animals, and he wanted Muslims to have a good behavior towards animals too. There is as an example this hadith where the Prophet warns his companions and tells them, "If someone kills so much as a sparrow or anything larger without a just cause, Allah Almighty will ask him about it on the day of resurrection." And it was said, "O Messenger of Allah, what is a just cause?" And then the Prophet said, "A just cause is that you slaughter it for food, but you should not cut off its head and throw it aside." So, the Prophet forbade the killing of animals without a good reason, but also to disturb them unnecessarily. In the following hadith, a companion tells us, during a journey of the Prophet with his companions, he had left them for a while, and some among the travelers saw a bird with her two young ones, and they captured her young ones. The bird came and began to spread its wings. Then the Prophet came back and said, "Who grieved this for its young ones? Return its young ones to it." And even when we have to kill an animal, it must be done in the right way. The Prophet insisted on this point, and he said, "Indeed, Allah has prescribed excellence in everything. If you have to kill, then kill in the best manner. If you slaughter, then slaughter in the best manner. Let one of you sharpen his knife, so his animal feels no pain." Much more than treating animals with respect, the hadiths that tell us facts about the life of the Prophet let us know that he appreciated cats very much, and that he owned at least one. The Prophet's favorite cat was called Muiza. A hadith tells us that the Prophet awoke one day to the sounds of the adhan, the call to prayer, and he soon discovered his cat Muiza sleeping on the sleeve of his prayer robe. And rather than wake her, he used a pair of scissors to cut the sleeve off, leaving the cat undisturbed. And the hadiths also tell us that ablutions can be performed with water from which cats drank. Contrary to what many people think about Muslim men, the Prophet put everyone on an equal footing, and he did not want to be treated like a king. He did not like to be served. He liked to help others and do things himself. And therefore he also helped with household chores. When he saw his wives doing something, he couldn't sit without helping. Moreover, in a hadith narrated by Aisha, she was asked what did the Prophet used to do in his house. She replied he used to keep himself busy serving his family, and when it was the time for prayer, he would go for it. He did what one of you would do in his house. He mended sandals and patched garments and sewed. As Aisha said, when asked to describe the character of the Prophet, she replied, the character of the Prophet was like the Quran. And the Quran tells us to control our anger and to forgive when we are angry. There are also many hadiths in which the Prophet advises us to control anger. And it is important to mention the following two hadiths to remind the importance of this. The Prophet said, "Whoever controls his anger when he has the means to act upon it, Allah will fill his heart with contentment on the day of resurrection." And he also said, "Do not be angry, and you will enter paradise." Another trait of personality of the Prophet Muhammad is that he did not talk unnecessarily and could remain silent for long periods of time. And he advised this to his companions because excessive talking can make us say things that we will regret. And it is expressed in a very strong way in the following hadith, in which the Prophet compares this to hypocrisy. This is a hadith narrated by Abu Umama. Being vulgar, obscene, and excessive talking are two branches of hypocrisy. And the Prophet also liked to isolate himself from people to meditate. He could remain for long periods away from society to meditate on the meaning of life. He was already doing this before becoming a prophet and receiving the revelation of the Quran.